Hey, what's up guys, AARAVA here, and welcome back to F1 Fantasy. Yes, the 2019 season is now live, and we're back again for a second year to do F1 Fantasy. So if you don't know, F1 Fantasy is a web-based game launched by F1 last year, and so you pick your dream team, build your perfect team of drivers, staying under $100 million budget. So, in this example, got Stroll, Hamilton, Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Kubica, and then Ferrari as your team. So if you're familiar with similar football fantasy games, it's almost like that, but the F1 equivalent of that, essentially. You can win exclusive F1 prizes if you're really that good and like the top guys in the world, basically. You can join leagues, hint, you guys should join my league, the AARAVA YouTube League. I'll have the join code on screen right now that you can go ahead and enter that join code to join my AARAVA YouTube League. And then you can also play official daily fantasy, which I didn't try much last year, but you can win like cash prize and stuff like that. So we're going to have a look at that as well in this video. But yeah, the 2019 season is now live. If you guys want to sign up, go over to fantasy.formula1.com, make an account, get signed up, choose your team, and then join my league, more importantly, because last year you guys killed it. Like, we had the biggest publicly globally made league ever, apart from the official F1 accounts. Like, the official F1 Global League and all the official F1 teams had their own little leagues. But when it came to publicly made user-generated leagues, my league last year, you guys smashed it. We were the biggest global league ever, which is insane. I think we had like just over 20,000 of you guys entering. I think the total number of people that were entered into the game were like 150,000. So that's a decent percentage of people playing the game were in my league, and that was all thanks to you guys. So I want to try and smash it again. I want to try and at least match that number and maybe try and even overtake that 20,000 mark and get as many of you guys joined to the league. So like I said, once you're signed up, I'll show you right now how you can actually enter it quite easily. You can either enter my league by entering the little invite join code on screen right now, or I'm about to show you how you can very easily join my league actually from the homepage. So when you first make your account, you can be greeted with this: welcome to F1 Fantasy 2019. Pick 5 drivers and 1 constructor for $100 million or less. Select your turbo driver to score double points. So kind of like picking a captain for football fantasy, basically, in the EPL. Create a league for you and your friends. Obviously, I've made a league for all of you guys. Pick up 3 different teams as well. That's a new feature for this year. Last year, you could only have 1 team and that was it. Now you can make 3 different teams. So if you're rubbish like me, you can have basically 3 bullets in the chamber, 3 different versions, 3 different teams to have a go and play around with. So I've already made my 3 teams. I've made an example account again to kind of show you what it looks like from your perspective if you're a new user, and then playing for amazing F1 prizes. Like I said, if you're in the top really leagues, in the global leagues, you can actually win some prizes. So you can go ahead and pick your team. Obviously, you've got here on the left hand side, you can filter it by driver or constructors. So drivers, obviously Hamilton and Vettel, the most expensive drivers. Then you go down to the kind of rookies, the new guys, or returning drivers. Obviously Kubica and Kvyat right now only 5.5 million each a pop, but obviously these can fluctuate throughout the season. So I remember last year Raikkonen was a really hot pick because he was in Ferrari, obviously, but he was actually quite cheap, and he was cheap enough where you could actually turbo him as well. So there's some tactics you can do there. But basically, you pick your 5 drivers, pick your team. This is just a test account for me, just to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm just going to quickly choose one, just so we can show you how to join my league very easily from the front homepage. So I just randomly clicked Hamilton, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Perez, Sainz, and Renault. That comes within budget. I can select a turbo driver. You can see the top drivers in top teams usually aren't available. Ricciardo, though, is a good pick for a turbo driver because he's in a Renault, so he might do well. Enter team name. I've already entered 3 team names. You can see AARAVA Racing, AARAVA Squadra Corsa, and AARAVA Grand Prix as my actual 3 teams. I'll just say YouTube test team, basically, because it's not a real team. I'll go with Ferrari, I guess, confirm, and that'll save it, basically. So you get entered into the Ferrari and Global League automatically, and also whatever country you're in, you'll also get entered into there, basically. You can create a league straight away if you want to, but if you go to the lobby, basically, you can see there, my league is right there. So the guys who actually made F1 Fantasy the game and F1 have worked with me behind the scenes to make this possible, so I'm really thankful for that. Thank you to them. So basically, my league is one of the ones that is like automatically there at the top. It's even got a logo, like, very similar to my YouTube banner logo. So literally, if you don't want to enter the join code, which is on screen right now in the corner, you can also just go to Leagues Lobby and then just just click AARAVA YouTube League and then just get entered. You can see already there are 993 of you already entered in. So little shout out to some of these guys. I'll scroll a little bit slowly. They've already joined my league there. So if you spot your name in these slow scrolls, then shout out to you guys. But basically, I'm already entered. If you actually go to the verified tab, I'm actually verified on the game as like a little user, which I find really funny. I'm verified on YouTube. I'm not verified on Twitter or Instagram, but I'm verified on the F1 fantasy game. So I've got my priorities straight, clearly. But these are my actual 3 teams: AARAVA Racing, AARAVA Grand Prix, AARAVA Squadra Corsa. But yeah, if you want to join my league, just go to lobby, and it's literally right there. And let's try and aim to be, once again, the biggest global league there on the game. We did it last year. You guys killed it, and I want to try and do that again. It'd be absolutely awesome too. And this time, with the new features, you know, the 3 teams available, and also some of the other features in the game, I will be following along a little bit more. Admittedly, last year, when it first launched, I did lose interest about halfway through, because the choices I made at the very start of the game just really didn't pan out long term. And like kind of almost like football fantasy, if you ever played it, sometimes you lose a bit of interest if you're not doing too well. But now, because I've got 3 different teams, I'm going to be very invested in it. I will be making a lot of videos, hopefully, covering the fantasy league and giving you guys updates of who's better and how I'm doing as well, because I've got 3 different teams this time. So like I said, there's just 3 chances for me to do well, because I've made sure all 3 teams are fairly different to one another. So I've got 3 different chances to do pretty okay. And at the same time, if halfway through this season you guys maybe want to, I can actually create a new league and start it from halfway. You can see here on the top left, it says from Australia to Abu Dhabi. You can actually make a new league that starts from halfway through the season. So we could be doing a halfway league, maybe, for those of you who haven't joined in straight away at the start. Obviously, I'm giving you guys good heads up. It's still, you know, a few weeks till the Australian Grand Prix, so get signed up, get picking. Obviously, you can change your team as much as you want up until the Australian Grand Prix. So if you change your mind through testing or whatnot, then you can do. But get signed up, play against me and everyone else, obviously, that's watching the video and is a viewer of mine. And we can see, because obviously, some of you guys who did really amazingly, I felt like last year it was really cool for you guys. You know, you were saying in the comments below, it was cool to see your own name in the video, you know, get, you know, kind of talked about basically, because I went through literally physically and looked at your guys' teams basically and saw which way you guys went compared to me. And obviously, most of the time, you guys had much better picks than I did, because I didn't really do too well. I think I was 11,000th in my own league. Out of 20,000, I was in the bottom second half of my own league, which was kind of embarrassing, but there you go. So I've now gone back to my actual account that I made my actual teams on, not the test one. So here are my teams if you're curious. So I've got the first one, AARAVA Racing. So let's have a look at that if I go click manage there. So my actual main team, AARAVA Racing, is consisting of Raikkonen, Vettel, Verstappen, Gasly, Perez, and Alfa Romeo. So I picked Alfa Romeo, obviously, because, you know, I've got a soft spot for them. They just did an absolute amazing thing for me, invited me out to F1 testing. So I've got a soft spot for them. And obviously my esports team, also powers the Alfa Romeo esports team, so I picked them as the team. They're also a cheaper team. They're only 9 in the list. They're only 9.5 million, and I reckon Alfa Romeo this year will be a bit of a dark horse team. So I reckon they could score some good points on fantasy there. So that's why I picked them. We've got Raikkonen, Vettel, and Verstappen. So I wanted one of the Ferrari drivers and one of the Red Bull drivers. I thought I'd go with Vettel because I think at the early stage it will be, I think, as much as obviously a lot of people rate Leclerc, I think Vettel will be the more solid pick, as in terms of like proven track record for the start of this season. So I picked Vettel for my main team as one of the top drivers. Verstappen as well, because he did very well actually last year as a pick. You know, obviously he had a bit of a slow start to the year, but he picked up pace a lot. And so in the Red Bull car, that's looking pretty good so far in testing. You know, maybe a little bit behind Ferrari, but they reckon they could catch it up by Australia, according to some of the reports and interviews. So I picked Verstappen. Raikkonen, similar thing to Alfa Romeo. I think he's going to be a bit of a dark horse. I reckon he could be one of those guys that picks up a lot of points on the sly every single race weekend, because he just does better than the game expects, and he gets a lot of positions forward from when he starts. So I think he could be quite good. Perez, because last year, in last year's game, Perez was a very solid person to have in your team. He was just one of those guys that always picked up points, basically. And then Gasly, because he's actually a very cheap driver. He's in a Red Bull, obviously, which is a top team, but he's low enough on the actual value chart that you can turbo him. So like I said, you have to be tactical about your turbos. Think about it quite wisely. If you can turbo someone like Gasly, who is, let's be fair, at the end of the day, he's a Red Bull driver. So I don't care how much you don't or do rate Gasly, he's a Red Bull driver. So in theory, he will do quite well. So that's why I turboed him, because I think turboing a Red Bull driver, no-brainer. You can't turbo Verstappen, so I may as well turbo Gasly. So I've gone with that. So that's my main team. But like I said, you can now have up to three teams, so 3 bullets in the chamber. And so if you're like me, like last year, it didn't pan out for you, you have a second shot and a third shot. So my second shot is called AARAVA Squadra Corsa, so just racing team in Italian. I thought it'd be quite funny like that with AARAVA Racing Team in Italian, basically go all Toro Rosso on the name. And so this time I've gone a little bit differently now. I've tried to make the team as different as I can do to my first team, because obviously that kind of makes sense to have different teams to have the best shots and maybe doing quite well. So now I've gone with Leclerc in Ferrari. I've gone with Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. I've gone with Hamilton this time round. We've turboed Carlos Sainz and got him. I've got Alexander Albon in the Toro Rosso there, and then I've gone Red Bull as my team. So this way, I went with a more expensive team of Red Bull, 25 million, so it had a little bit less to play around with. So Leclerc was a good saving to Vettel, saving 4 million there. I still wanted a top driver, so I went with Hamilton this time round instead of Vettel, because I had Vettel on the other team. I went with Giovinazzi, because I still think the Alfa Romeo and him and Raikkonen could do quite well. Albon, the Toro Rossos look pretty good in testing so far, so, and I think Albon's quite a nice guy. He seems like a good fella, so pretty much it just shows him, because he seems like a pretty top guy, actually, in interviews and whatnot, and he's in the Toro Rosso, which I think could do quite well at the start of the season. Remember, Toro Rossos are usually very good at the start of the season, then they drop off, so I think Albon will be one of those guys I sub out later on down the line in the season. And Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, he's basically pretty much the only guy I could afford, apart from maybe Norris as well, but I'd rather go with Carlos Sainz as a safer bet, maybe to score some decent points. And I turboed him because he's the maximum guy I could turbo. I couldn't turbo Leclerc or Hamilton, and I'd rather turbo Sainz out of those three there. So that's my second team. And then we've got my third team, which is AARAVA Grand Prix. So this time round, I've gone again with Vettel. I've gone with Daniel Ricciardo this time round. Leclerc as well. So I've got 2 Ferrari drivers in this team. So this time, I went with really cheap on my team, and also really cheap on one other driver, which is Kvyat, because he's one of the cheapest guys, obviously, because he's returning to the sport. So he's one of the cheapest guys in the order, and Toro Rosso is the second cheapest team. So I went really cheap on those two, but in order to get 2 Ferrari drivers and Red Bull Verstappen driver as well, and then Ricciardo and turbo Ricciardo, obviously, he's the maximum driver and can turbo. So this one, I think this has potential out of a Grand Prix. This is quite, a bit of a clever way to go about it. Go really cheap on the team and splash out on the drivers. I don't know if that's going to work out. I don't think it really did work out last year, but you never know. I think Toro Rosso, like I said, could do well at the beginning, so I'm going to see how it goes, but I might have boxed myself in by going so cheap on the team early, because it's going to be hard to really spend more on the team later on, because obviously I'll have to try and do a wild card and remove 2 at a go, but that's what I've gone with. So those are my 3 teams, and so if I go to by the way, if you do want to join my league, you can also join it by clicking join as well, and just entering the code that's in the bottom right of the screen right now, or like I said, you can go to the lobby and join that way. But if I go to my team there you go, really nice, looking absolutely awesome and unique with a nice little banner with my logo there. That's so cool. And then yeah, there I am, and obviously I'm in the league right now with my 3 teams. So you can see a lot of people have entered 3 teams already as well. You can see a lot of people with just like GP1, GP2, GP3. So yeah, pretty simple namings, but a lot of people have also taken up that option of doing 3 teams. I do recommend you guys all to do 3 teams, to be honest, because it just makes sense. You have more opportunity to do better, because like I said, if one team does badly, maybe the other one does well, and so you can bump up in the standings. So like I said, you can also enter yourself into daily fantasy. So last year it was a bit fiddly to do it. This year you can transfer your actual F1 fantasy team that I've just made there. You can see the YouTube test team in the background. You can transfer it to daily fantasy. So want to try official daily fantasy, export your team. So you can just say, yeah, export the team. There's a pop-up there, so I'm going to load this in. So there we go. I've now exported my team into daily fantasy. So I've been imported. 6 out of 6 players are available today. I view my team, it's the same team that was in F1 Fantasy, but now I'm in Daily Fantasy, and now I can play. So we made an account. Obviously, like I said, in Daily Fantasy, you're actually playing, you could actually potentially win real actual money if you're actually that good. So you have to be over 18 for this part, but if you sign up there, you can see you have a free entry game, beginner only, and so you can get joined in, enter the lineup basically, and get playing. So from there, you can just plug in really easily. So hopefully I convince you guys to get signed up and join F1 Fantasy and enter my league specifically. And like I said, this year, because we've got the whole 3 teams, we've got some new features as well in terms of maybe later on down the line doing a kind of half and half league and stuff like that. I'm going to be a little bit more invested in this league this time around. Last year, I will fully admit, I kind of dropped off a little bit in interest, but this time around, I will be trying to do a weekly update video basically every time there is a Grand Prix essentially, so a race week, I mean, video basically of showing how you guys are doing, the top guy, top 100 or top 10 guys in my league, how you guys are doing, what your teams are, giving you a little bit of a shout out, basically a platform on the video, on the channel basically. So get signed up. Like I said, last year we had just over 20,000 people, so it'd be really, really cool to try and match that, and if not, beat it, because this time last year I had less of you guys subscribed to my channel, less of you guys maybe around, potentially. So it'd be really cool to try and even beat that target of 20,000 we had last year. It'd be really awesome. And like I said, it's so easy to join my league. Literally, just go to leagues, go to lobby, and it's literally right there at the front. You can see it on the top with my logo. You can't miss it. So get signed up, fantasy.formula1.com, and join my league and get signed up, and we'll get going from the Australian Grand Prix. But guys, if you did enjoy the video and you like the sign of it, then do hit that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below, and let me know if you're going to sign up, and let me know in the comments below, guys, who you think you're probably going to pick for your team and your drivers there in the comments below. I'd be curious to see, maybe there's a pattern maybe with certain people. Actually, there is a pattern actually already, because F1 tweeted out who's been picked the most. F1 tweeted out this picture actually just literally yesterday, saying the most picked drivers so far are Ricciardo, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, Raikkonen, and Ferrari there. So you can see, I've picked Ricciardo, I think, twice. I picked Verstappen twice. Picked Leclerc once. Raikkonen once. Hamilton once. I never actually picked Ferrari as a team. I don't think. Did I? I don't actually remember. Did I actually pick Ferrari as a team at all? Alfa Romeo? No, I did not actually pick Ferrari. I mean, I went a bit more tactically. I think I can earn more points with drivers rather than a team, basically. But there you go. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys are thinking in terms of who you're going to pick. And if you are new around here, do get subscribed for that. Obviously, like I said, I'll be doing a race weekly video basically for this F1 Fantasy League. And if you are new around here, there's also more F1 content for you guys to watch on the channel. So hopefully you guys can enjoy that. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you next time, guys. Goodbye.